So welcome back to our series where I will be chatting with industry experts to answer some of the most frequently asked questions I get from clients that are looking to purchase a property here in Spain. So today I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Jacobo Romero, owner of Lexlite Abogados. So thank you, Jacob, very much for coming in to have a chat with us. Jacob has extensive experience in property law and will be help unpack some of the leading questions that get commonly asked. So before we start, maybe you could tell us a little bit, Jacob, about your experience and expertise and what Lexlite offer here in Marbella.
Thank you, Kristian, and thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce our law firm. I would say that Lexlite is a law firm just focused on the client. Having worked as a lawyer for more than 25 years already, having worked in different cities for different big law firms in Madrid, Barcelona, London, Marbella, it was very clear to me when we started working with the brand of Lexlite that we should focus on the client. I would say that we intend to be very close to the client, to really find a solution to help the client out. And regarding the core areas, I definitely would say that there are conveyancing, property law, real estate law, and litigation as well.
So with 20 years in the business, how has the property law landscape changed in Marbella, or how have you found it changed over the years?
Very much. Urban law, property law in Marbella is complicated. The reason why, take into account that the last two urban plans of Marbella had been annulled, had been declared null and void by the Supreme Court of Spain. Definitely this is a challenge because now, today more than ever, it's very important to have the certainty about the urban situation of the property, to check that the first occupation license has been granted, to check that there is no infractions in terms of the urban law whatsoever.
So with a lot of clients watching, and I suppose unease when purchasing a property abroad can lead to a lot of questions and doubts for people. So for people watching this video, maybe you could talk us through the steps, I suppose, in terms of the legal process for, I suppose, a non-resident or international buyer looking to buy a property here in Marbella.
When I meet with clients, with foreign clients that are about to purchase a property in Spain, I always explain to the clients that the process of buying a property in Spain could be divided, could be split in three legal steps. The first step is quite obvious, is to book the property, to take the property off the market. In order to do so, we will need to receive a deposit fee. While we are holding the deposit fee, which by the way is absolutely reimbursable, we can start the due diligence process. We can gather all the documentation of the property and start the preliminary legal searches of the property. Once that we are happy with the result of the due diligence, once that we had negotiated, that we had drafted the reservation agreement, we send an email to the client asking for the authorization to sign the agreement and mainly to hand over the deposit to the seller. This will be the first step. A second step will be to sign what we call a private purchase agreement, private purchase contract, with a further payment of 10% to 30% of the purchase price. And the third and last step will be to complete the purchase, to arrange an appointment before a Spanish public notary and to grant the public deed, the ownership deed that later on we will register in the land registry.
Okay. And typically from signing a reservation agreement to PPC, is there a general time frame between the two?
Yeah, we could say that as an average, we could be talking about 30 to 45 days.
Okay. And I suppose, are there any real legal red flags that I suppose buyers should be aware when entering into purchasing a property here in Marbella, or is there anything that you help to guide them in that process?
Definitely. Before buying a property or before just booking a property in Marbella, it's very, very important to check ownership of the property. Never pay a deposit to someone that is pretending to represent the owner unless he has power of attorney or he is the legal representative of the seller. To check charges, encumbrances in the land registry, and as I said before, now more than ever, to check the urban situation of the property, to check whether the first occupation license has been granted, if there is any legal infraction, to check the situation at the urban department of the town hall.
I know something as well that I've also been assisted in, and I'm noticing more and more, is that a lot of clients are looking to purchase properties in business names rather than individuals. Does the process differ in terms of the legal landscape of that?
It's slightly different. It makes a difference in terms of time and legal steps to be taken. Bear in mind that if the purchase is made through a foreign company, through an offshore company, we will need to get NI number for the director of the company. We will need to get the tax reference number for the company itself. We will need to get all the documentation from the household companies or the documentation of the company. We will need to translate the documentation. We will need to legalize the documentation. So it makes the process a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated. But beside these issues, nothing changes, and you can perfectly purchase either as an individual, through a Spanish company, or through an offshore company, through a foreign company.
How do Lexlite handle inheritance or tax advice in regards inheritance here when they come to purchase a property in Spain? Is there anything that you would recommend in terms of wills or anything to be done before?
Absolutely. It is highly advisable to grant a Spanish will. It's very simple, it's very cheap as well, and it makes a difference in terms of inheritance. To grant a Spanish will valid for Spanish access, it makes things so much easier, quicker, and as I said, cheaper for inheritors later on.
If a client is looking to purchase a site, something that's kind of becoming more and more common for either building or renovating a resale property, is that something your law firm can assist with in terms of building planning regulations or, I suppose, for permits?
Yeah, we do it very often. If the client wants to extend the property, he wants to renovate or just to build the property, we need to check the urban situation in the urban department, at the urban department of the town hall, and to check what can be built, what cannot be built. We need to apply for a building license, and unless we are talking about a simple renovation, a minor renovation, where we could just send a mere output communication to the town hall, the building license would be necessary.
Okay, and does that vary very much in terms of something that can be done before they purchase the property, in terms of just establishing what could be done? Is that something that can?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can always get the information from the urban department, the urban situation of the property, and check the possibilities of the property, of the plot, what can be built, as I said, or what are the possibilities of the.
Because another element to it that's a big part is that it's obviously a lot of investors that come in to purchase property, and there's a lot of changes, especially in the last year, in terms of fiscal policies surrounding rental properties. How have you found that in terms of changes this year, in terms of assisting clients getting sufficient licensing for short-term rents?
Yeah, this definitely is something that changed recently, and it changed in a peculiar way. Since last April, the law changed, and in order to get the rental license, to be able to rent the property in short terms, it is mandatory, it is compulsory to get the owner's community approval. And this is it makes a difference now.
Yeah, it's something that is not a guarantee anymore to kind of establish what's done in the development.
Yeah, you can check the situation with the owner's community before purchasing the property, and it makes sense. It's advisable to do it just to know whether the property could be rented in short terms or it cannot be rented.
And in terms of, I know in terms of properties or resale properties, there's a major shortage in terms of what is available in the market at the moment for a lot of clients looking. But what is taking up a lot, and you can see it with the cranes around here, there's a huge amount of new developments that is ongoing all along the coast.
Yeah.
Is there anything in specific that buyers should be aware in terms of the process going into purchasing an off-plan property, in terms of the legal landscape of that?
To buy a property off plan from the developer in Spain is a very safe process.
Okay.
Take into account that all the payments made by the purchaser to the developer should be lodged in a special bank account. And furthermore, all the amounts paid to the developer will be secured by means of a bank guarantee or an insurance policy. So if anything happens with the development, if there is a delay, if there is any breach of the contract, the client, the purchaser, has a bank guarantee that guarantees all the money back, the reimbursement of all the money back, plus the legal interest.
So what final piece of advice would you give to anybody looking to consider purchasing a property here in Spain in terms of, a legal preparedness?
Okay, before purchasing the property, they had very clear what is the goal of the purchase. I mean, if they want to purchase a property in Spain as an investment, if they want to purchase a property as a second home, if they want to rent the property later, is worth to have everything clear so we can advise the client about the best way to approach this purchase through a Spanish company, through an offshore company, as an individual. And also they should take into account that according to the European Union regulation, according to money laundering regulation, all the payments must be justified. And they need to justify as well the source, the origin of the funds. This is very important so they understand that everything has to be very clear.
Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining me today, and no doubt your expertise and insights have been really helpful for anybody considering to purchase a property here. So anybody has any other questions, all the contact information is in the bio in this video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.